This is Gunther Cooper for the Read Response 3 response, and this is for Dr. Morrison, and today we're going to be looking at the 4 articles that are presented before me. I had a video for this, and the problem was that every single time I tried to play the video, it would crash the whole recording system that I had. So I will leave the video in the description, and this goes for one of my points on my notes. So I will leave it in the description. It's by Vo News, and so that way you can watch it. Anyway, so the 4 articles are the philosophy of education, and then 3 textbook chapters, which are the X to XI pages. I didn't know what to call them. They didn't have any titles or anything, so I just called it X to XI. Teaching social justice, and the politics of children's literature. And so let's start with the philosophy of education, which states that the core curriculum is essential for the classroom. We have to teach it, no matter what. And so it goes down into the 5 schools. And this is where the video would have been important, but it keeps crashing my recording software, so we're just going to have to wing it. And sorry if I butcher any of these names. Essentialism is to leave school with knowledge and discipline. This is basically the industrial age of schools, the ones we have right now. Perennialism. This is cultural literacy and fact check, where they have a text called the Great Books, in which they get to examine the best thinkers of our time and they critically analyze them. We got progressivism, which is meaningful questions and device strats. This is for students who want that real world experience and to solve real world situations through meaningful questions and divisive strategies to solve real world problems. Social reconstruction is about social order and to reform society. This is the part about, building society through our language. And this is the one I'm going to butcher, because I've been butchering it every single time. Existentialism. Hopefully I said that right. It's a high priority on students directing their own learning, and these students find a purpose on life. This was what the video was about, but I'll go into it. It's basically like when you showed us the Albany, which showed a bunch of free school and how the democracy works between that. For the X to XI, this is what teachers want for their students. So they want students to feel comfortable in a setting where they can have fun and the teacher can have fun. About talking about real world consequences. So like poverty, homelessness, the White House and stuff like that. The teaching social justice is to engage reflective dialogue. And this is on page 24 in the text Rethinking Our Classrooms, volume number 1, where he uses starters like posters or songs to start dialogue and works on the student and teaching. Sorry, I said it wrong. And teacher having a following question. And I think it's very important because one of the things he brings up is a homeless person. There was a photo in the textbook and it really stood out to me. And he's talking about it, about how he brings photos like that, where it shows in front of New York all these trash bags on the ground. And, the kids are going, oh, that's just trash. And it's not trash. It's homeless people. trying to stay warm for the winter, and trying not to get snowed on. And the last one is about politics of children literature. This is all about the whole explanation of why Rosa Parks' story is not what it seems. And a good point is point number 5 in the book, where it talks about, Rosa Parks wasn't actually sitting at the front of the seats. She was sitting at the front of the colored section, not the white section. And how, people kicked her off anyway because it was a crowded bus, and that was the ruling at that time, that, colored people had to sit at the back and, that whole stuff. I'm not going to get into it because, honestly, I would like not to talk about it. It's not my sort of conversation. It's a touchy subject. So, what this all correlates to, at least 3 out of the 4 texts. I don't think the philosophy of education covers this, but what I got from 3 of the 4 texts is that we are not being taught what we must be taught. Like, for example, we're being taught around 4th grade who was the 23rd president. Who cares? In a real world setting, we do not care who the 23rd president is, or we do not care about anything that Christopher Columbus did. Unless you're at trivia night, that doesn't matter. What we're not talking about is poverty, racism, gender equality, and stuff like that. Where we're not communicating to our students, hey, this is real world problems. How do we fix this? Because sometimes, like I learned in human development, is that sometimes kids have a good solution for everything. And the best example I have to show this is that our human development teacher, Natalie, showed us that a 16-year-old was cleaning up the ocean with, I think it was a bunch of boats and a big net, and how he was making millions of dollars cleaning up the ocean. And, people kept on shutting him down saying, no, this is a horrible idea. Just never do it. And one teacher actually listened and helped him become as millionaire as possible. And so that's a good identity for, things we're not being taught at all. I forgot what the story was. I can't even find it now. It's been a long time. But I do remember it because it stuck in my head that long. So I think that here's how we solve this problem. Because, well, my battery's dying on the computer. So I'm going to have to make this quick. I'm sorry. But anyway, this is how we solve this problem. We solve this problem by when we have young children, we do what teaching social justice did. And where, we send questionnaires the first 6 weeks, what were your grandparents like back in their days? What were their, parents like when they were back at that age? What were y'all like when y'all were back at that age? And you take all this information and then you get all this personal dialogue, like reading journals, for example, sensitive reading journals, where, only the teacher will read. And then the teacher can pose a question. Hey, what do y'all think about poverty in the U.S.? And get them talking about it. Like, how do you feel how the less fortunate are treated? Or people who make less money. This lets them expand their ideas. Oh, I think the president should help. Or, oh, I think, they need to find a job. They need to... And it influences them to think outside the box to help. And that outside the box thinking is very relevant in today's world. And that's why I think that would be the best thing for this country. If we do what was in teaching social justice, where we just, ask questions about what they think about this topic. Because, teachers have learned from students before, and students have learned from teachers. In fact, my math teacher learned, how ADHD affects a person's mind through me. And it was actually kind of funny to explain to him, look, it's kind of like, I'm a dog. Okay? I like everyone. I'm just going to run up and, hi, without a second thought. And so it helps the students and the teachers communicate well. And it helps conjoin these ideas of what we should do. Anyway, my battery's dying, so I got one more question for y'all. And that is what I just answered. What should we do to our youth that should we create them a better environment of what they should know? Or should we keep on going the essentialism route, where we just teach them enough to know what they need to know and pass it on? Anyway, this is Gunther Cooper for Dr. Morrison's class, signing off.